Welcome back, everybody. This is another update on the state of Ragnarok Transcendence from me, your friend Debo. If you guys checked me out last week, I was talking about what's going on in the world of Ragnarok Online Transcendence. As you guys know, Ragnarok Online Transcendence is a server that was established in, I think the servers are in North America, I'm pretty sure. It's just basically IRO, but, you know, they're slapping the whole, you know, RO Transcendence, and I know certain regions can't play with us, but anywho, I'm an English-speaking player, of course, that plays Ragnarok, and I'm here to keep you up to date what's going on the server, in case you're just interested about playing it, or want to kind of notice what the trends are, or what's going on behind the scenes. I'm here to provide them for you, so we can also, maybe even in the future, when we look back on this, we'll have like a log of at what point did the server go crazy. So, here to got you a set of lists of things I want to talk about, what's going on with the server, and what we got to look forward to. First and foremost, because you know I'm a big money man, I'm always worried about money on the server. Current prices of HE bubblegum and manuals are 140k to up towards to 160k per piece. So if you wanted to get a total of 10 like that comes inside of a box, you're looking at a total of anywhere between 1.4 million and 1.6. If we were to put in a rate of 150k per, you're looking at, that'd be 1.5 million, divide that by 600, you're looking at about, the math is correct here, 2,500 zenny per Kafra point. So if you wanted somebody to get you something in terms of that, or figure out the Kafra point equivalent, let's say you had an item that you wanted to sell for 20 million, if you were to take that, so that's 2,500 per Kafra point, 2,500 zenny. Let me see here. So if you were to do something like 20 million, if I'm not correct with my math, and it's not terrible, and it's 2,500 per Kafra point, 20 mil would be something like 8 million Kafra points, if I'm not incorrect. If my math does serve me correctly, otherwise, don't quote me on that. But, you know, 2,500 zenny per Kafra point's not too bad. That inflation's starting to set in slowly. I remember back when the gums used to be like 50, 60k, 70. So, you know, they're going to continue to keep growing, and that's just kind of how it goes. Whenever you have Kafra shop items, the zenny is just naturally going to inflate up, and things are going to increase. You know, people are kind of hoarding more zenny, acquiring more zenny. I don't know if it's necessarily the bots or what's going on, but the longer the server goes on, the more the cost of those are actually going to go up. So, that's currently what it is right now. Last week, I think it was like a little bit over 100, 105k per. I didn't really announce on my last video like how much they were, but I'll make sure that'll be a starting point of every single video. So, you know, still at a good acceptable rate. If you hurt in certain areas or certain monsters, you actually can make a certain profit. It is very much worthwhile to always use a gum, I do believe, especially if you're farming some type of monster that gives a good return on their investment. And by a good return on their investment, I mean, they not only provide you a good drop potential chance, like if they drop their key items, you'll get a good amount of money. They're also raw zenny overcharging ends up amounting to be a good amount of money. You also want to probably, you know, fight an area or kill a certain monster that is very easy to kill, that costs you a minimal amount of resources, so you don't end up coming out of pocket, so you can maximize your profit. As you guys see, the gameplay that I got on the screen today is of my Devotion Crusader with 1 strength. He is leveling in Pisanas until level 99. I'm making pretty okay rates and getting a good amount of undershirts and overcharged stuff. This is an example of a character that won't have a good return on investment, because it's going to be utilizing a lot of potions and SP to level up with. It's not too bad, actually. For the most part, I feel like I get a little bit over and break a little bit over even, or a good portion is, but not as much as when I had the Agility Crusader, my first Crusader, because you know, I can go to Pisanas and Holy Cross everything until I have no SP, and then just auto attack everything and really maximize that profit. With the combination of Flee, I'm not going to be taking any damage, which means no potion consumption, no SP items needed, which means I'm going to be maximizing a lot of my profits. So keep that in mind. If you guys are kind of having a problem with the economy right now, and you're saying, well, Debo, my stuff, it's just not selling, and it's hard for me to make money, the main thing I'm going to tell you is this. If the item is worthwhile to players, and it's a hot-ass item like a Gakun bow, which is a step above the Arbalist with the right, you know, stats on them, like 2% attack speed, especially against Demi-Human, you're gonna be rich. Maybe a person doesn't have all the raw zenny to give you, which I kind of do. I think there's a lot of players that have certain raw zenny, but once you start getting on the hundreds of millions of raw zenny, then you start questioning where that player got all their money, but I won't go into that. That's for another discussion. But If you get like a 2 attack speed Gakun only drops from Lady Tanny. She's a premium she's it's a very small window or small amount of creatures that can drop you that item. Even the Owl Barons are not in the game where you can just hunt them. So right now, as an example, a high-end item that I figure that most people would want to use is a Gakun. Secondary stat demi-human. Maybe, dragons when they come out with hit on it or, attack speed. Any of those types of items, you're going to get a lot of money for it. And if people don't necessarily have all the raws they need to give you, then you might just need to take some Kafra items. There's nothing wrong with accepting partial payments in Zinni and then taking the rest in, Kafra shop items. Specifically bubblegum, manuals. Because that stuff is just going to grow in value anyway. I mean, some people say, yeah, Debo, it's just going to go up with inflation, but you can get some pretty good rates right now. And I would say, like, if you're just looking to make sure you finish some of your sales of your higher-end items, don't feel bad about taking partial Zinni and then the rest Kafra items or all Kafra items and then selling it to somebody who's buying them, or wait till the price goes up and do that way. That's one option that you can do. I find, for the most standard player, overall, is to hunt something like Pisanas or to hunt something like Steels or to hunt anything that can not only provide you a good overcharge rate but also provide you some good solid items. My end-all be-all, I think, is pretty solid for the most part, where you don't have to risk as much, is Pisanas. Pisanas are a lot lower HP than they were on restart. They don't have the 8k HP how they used to be. They have about 3k. You can one-shot them very easily with Holy Cross. You can flee them very easily. You can auto-attack them. Pisanas is actually a very magical creature because the Pisanas give pretty good experience. They can take you away to 99. They drop undershirts at 1%, and with Battle Manual, they drop a shit ton. And people love undershirts because they're trying to slot them. Also, their card sells for anywhere between 5 to 700k. It might be up a little bit higher now. Martyr card sells for 4 million or higher. I haven't checked the last time, but the last time, like a month ago, I was paying 4 million for a Martyr card, so I imagine they went up a lot. Because there's really no place for people to hunt Martyrs and get them easily to drop. Sidewinder cards are going to probably be a little bit cheaper because there's a map where they go hunt the Halberds. It's very easy to get those there. But for the most part, the undershirts right now are on a rise right now. They were at like 110, 120. They're back up to about 200k for a quick sale, super quick sale, 190. But you can leave them up overnight at 200k, and by the time you come back from work or you wake up, most of them should be sold. Some people sell them towards 250, 300. If the market, if we can all communicate and push the underpriced shirt up, that probably would be a good thing. At a minimum of 300k, quick sell at 290. Because basically every undershirt that you get, it pays for your gum down there for 15 minutes. Now you use 4 gums per hour. Towards the end, I'm trying to think here. There's 10 gums, and I use 4 per hour, so that's 2 hours and a half. And at the end of 10 gums, I have anywhere between 15 to 20 undershirts. Now let's just play it safe, and we got our 15 undershirts. 15 undershirts selling at 200k a pop. You're looking at... There we go. You're looking at about 3 million. Especially when you invest at 1.5 million into the bubblegum, you're making a good profit. So it's profitable for you to buy these gums, use them, sell all your undershirts, and profit. And the beautiful thing about that, you're like, Debo, I only made 1.5 million. That's not even including the overcharge loot. That's not including Pisanas drop a card. That's not including if the Sidewinders drop a card. It's not including if Martyr drops a card, which is big money. So make sure you don't underestimate certain areas like that. Another good location is Ragex are pretty solid. Picking up all the Brigand and stuff like that. If you can Holy Cross and kill the Abysmal Knights, that's also fantastic. If you cannot kill the Abysmal Knights, then it kind of makes the gum a little bit less valuable. But the thing about that in Chivalry is that when you do kill, you're looking out for the Arbalest bows and you're hoping for something to drop pretty decent. But if you get a solid Arbalest bow, that's 6-7 million, and that pays for all the costs. Not to mention you get Elooms and you get Brigand. Seals is very good. Or Sea Otters, not Seals, Sea Otters. I heard that place is very good. I haven't gummed it yet, but I heard they drop a lot of gems and they overcharge for a good amount. I don't know if they've disabled it. I heard there were a lot of bots there trying to get that raw Zinni, because that's what usually botters try to do. They try to send a bot to a certain area where they can get raw Zinni, overcharge it, make good, consistent money, and then all the drops are extra. So if you're having a problem with getting money right now, in a closing of the current state of the economy and how everything's going, I would strongly advise for you to look for a map that has a healthy amount of mobs that you can kill, that drop items, that the rare items sell for pretty well, and that also their overcharged items also sell for pretty well. Now, I'm letting you know this, guys, right now, with the state of what's going on, kind of brings us into the next topic, is, you know, with the whole WoW situation, you're going to start seeing the population surge and stuff like that. But one thing you want to keep in mind, if you got any slotted shoes, if you got any slotted shields, if you got anything that will drop out of a castle, I highly recommend to sell that shit right now. I don't know if the castle loot is going to have the weapon enchants on them. You know, the chests are kind of considered monsters, so they should. So the big thing I'm wondering about is just that, you know, I'm not wondering about it. It's just that when those items drop, all the items like equipment is going to go to shit. So if you got slotted boots, you got shoes, you got mantles, you got mufflers, sell that shit now. Because if you don't, as soon as these guild leaders start getting, especially if somebody has a 100 econ castle and they start getting all those treasure boxes, that's going to flood the market of a lot of Elu, Iridicon, things like that. They're going to keep the high-end premium items and stuff like that, but the lower-end items, you're going to see a lot more of it. It's going to drop the price down real crazy. Also, if you have shield, if they actually have these things called silver guards, that's going to make shields obsolete and mirror shields obsolete for the most part. And then if you have mufflers and mantles, heavenly robe, I think I'm saying the right name. We'll look at it in a second, but that is a you know, muffler item or a cloak item, whatever, and that has way more defense and has less weight, which is huge, and that will be the new thing everybody tries to upgrade. So just sell your shit now. You know, you guys have been warned, and plus you really shouldn't be holding on to stuff for too long, because we haven't even got to the point where weapons have 3 enchant locks on them. We just barely got the increased stat rolls for the primary stat, and we just got secondary. And not to mention, we still don't even have the secondary that has large, that has like, we have a lot of elements ones, but all the different size modifications, those are not even in the game yet. So that's another thing to keep in mind. So as long as they progress the game onwards, especially with Fever Fields and then Abyss Slate coming out, there's going to be changes to certain gear. So don't try to hold on to shit too long. Try to get it out your inventory and sell it for a reasonable price. That's just my advice to you. Otherwise, you can just kind of do whatever you want to do. So that takes care of the, you know, the price of what the current Kaffir Shop item is to Zenny rate. That's the kind of current state of the economy. The player population is something else I want to talk about. It's going pretty okay. Instead of stagnant about 2K, sometimes you might see up to 2.5, maybe 3 on a primetime night, but not really back to how it was when the game was off and popping. A lot of people have a lot of characters that are already 99. And unfortunately, I don't know, man. I don't think our server, I think a couple guilds are really ready for WoW. I don't think a lot of guilds are ready for WoW. And then I think after the first WoW that happens on the 6th coming up, I mean, population is going to go up once WoW happens. And then the population might spike a little bit more, because at the end of the day, when the population spikes up, what's also going to happen is that a lot of people are going to start leveling a lot of WoW characters. So as a lot of those people start leveling those WoW characters, because they're going to realize, oh my god, all I got is PvE characters. I didn't make any WoW characters. WoW was really fun, but I got my ass whooped because I have no vitality or I don't have the right build for what I'm trying to do. And we need to start getting organized so we can start getting castles and start getting loot. Because these castles, potentially, if they roll the enchants, are going to be ridiculous on some of the gear. And these guilds that occupy certain bases in certain areas are just going to dominate WoW. And that's just going to kind of be how it's going to be. I mean, that's how it always is. The guilds that control WoW will run the server, right? Now, you're going to have some okay secondary guilds and okay third-rary guilds and some guilds that just only come together to try to get a castle at the end of WoW. I want to repeat this one more time so you can understand. The guild that controls WoW will control the server. And when that first guild, if they get tired or they break up or they fight and they split, then the power distribution will redistribute, and then the next guild in power will take over and run it. Usually, there's never a guild. The guild that runs the server in the beginning never seems to be there at the end of the server. Usually, the power shift is just shifted all over. The power shifting and what guilds hate each other, what goes on, it's going to depend on player relations. Do people like each other? Who do they hate? Is all Brazil players just going to band together and get to go against American players? Are they just going to have a inner civil war? All this stuff happens because WoW just offers all this loot, all this treasure, all this money, all this power, all this prestige, And when that shit starts to happen, you got friends stop becoming friends anymore. You have allies one week, enemies the next. And we're just gonna have to wait and see how this all carries out. In my honesty, I think maybe 2, maybe tops 3 guilds actually understand what builds will work really good in WoW and what's gonna actually be the thing that dominates all of WoW. And the rest of the guilds are just gonna be lambs to the slaughter. I would highly advise to have a secondary account and have that with the alchemist and have code on and coat your shield and your weapon. People are going to be breaking the living shit out of all your weapons, because that's like one of the metas. It's just basically bringing a bunch of knights, bust everybody's gear, bust everybody's weapon, storm gust everybody, and then you just basically just bowling bash until they have more potions and they die. Additional undeads, additional unfrozens are welcome. If you can't afford an unfrozen, buy 2 evil druid cards, because you know what? Undead can't be frozen. It's not as good as Unfrozen as a mark card, but it's half the price. Have 2. If a couple break, whatever. Or just make your alchemist on the side and enchant yourself with coat. Coat your weapon. Coat your fucking well, coat your weapon. Coat your armor, and the last one is of course your shield. Okay, all that stuff makes huge differences. Okay, if you don't want to have to worry about coats on your weapon, if you have a mace as a weapon, maces cannot be broken by sword breaker. Mail breaker, well, it's not much you could do. You could wear make your armor immortal, but you need an unfrozen or an undead. So you're definitely just gonna have to either carry multiple sets around or have an alchemist on your secondary account that you just boop, just give them a coat. Coat yourself. It is worth it. I had a personal coder on restart. It was so nice knowing that my shit would never get broken. So if you don't got an alchemist and you always want to make one, make an alchemist. Get yourself some coats. Maybe you can even level as a bad alchemist and then just get the supplies together and get a pure potter alchemist. Make all your coats for you. If you just make like 1,000 at once, I guarantee you won't have to worry about coats for months on end if you're just using them for yourself. So get out there. Don't be stupid. Don't do it. Get an alchemist, or just make sure that you have your mace weapon where it won't break your weapon when they try, because they're gonna try to break your weapon. And as the armor, the only thing you do with armor is with the coat. And let me tell you, you might be like, well, we have a guild coder. It's gonna be frustrating when people are dying and they have one coder that just keeps recoding. The one thing everybody in a guild should have, you should have your own buff priest that has warps and all that kind of stuff that can heal and cast stuff and maybe even use sanctuary, so that you're not rely upon your one guild priest who's inside the castle to, I need a warp back. He's not going to come out the castle. You better have your own warps, your own buffs, your own heals. You better have your own alchemist to coach yourself. It is that serious in WoW. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, you don't want to have to be waiting on everybody else to warp you back or to heal you or do all that. So just make sure you focus on those main things. WoW's going to be pretty enjoyable. A lot of people like PvP, but eventually there probably will be one guild that might end up econing, which there always is a guild. If you never experienced WoW with econing, that means somebody's going to upgrade the castle to 100 economy. Once you get there, instead of just getting a couple treasure boxes a night, you get a shit ton of treasure boxes. And let me tell you, man, the longer the economy stays up, the more that guild gets in power, the more money they make, the more ahead they get. So economies that's going to be one serious thing. The only downside thing a lot of people say about running 100 eco is just that it gets stressful and it's very boring because you're just defending, and sometimes for hours, for like a whole amount of WoW, you don't see a lot of the cool smaller skirmish battles that people seem to enjoy. So that's going to be coming out the first WoW on the 6th, so you guys got that to look forward to. I think they're going to just do the test WoW to see how everything is. At the beginning of the test WoW, they spawn all the monsters, you kill the monsters in the castle, you claim it, and at the end of the WoW, they might do something like, okay, whatever guilds end up having a castle, you'll keep it until the next week WoW, and then the first kind of like official WoW will be next week after the first test WoW, because they're going to see what's up. Also, there's going to be a lot of lagging, there's going to be a lot of crazy shit. Once these servers are ready to go, there's going to be a lot of lagging, there's going to be a lot of inconveniences, and I would tell you right now to start looking up what items you want from the castle right now. Okay, I actually even have a list of some of the items that are going to be dropping from the castles. As you can see, you got different common boxes out of the treasure chests for the different areas, and then basically it has a common box right here, and then they have Lunia 1, Lunia 2, Lunia 3, Lunia 5, and they show you all the interesting stuff that they drop. So, common box, if I'm not incorrect, these are all the little from random items, little fluff items that can drop outside of there. So, Yig Seeds, Yig Berries are going to go down in price because people are going to have a lot of that, or people are going to use it for resources. Old card albums are going to start shooting up. That's another standard one. Tribe of Solidarity gives experience for your guild. Elum, Ori, we know. Treasure Backs can be overcharged for Raw Zinni. When you start looking at things like this, like Mass Immune, Poison Knife, Coronet, Saint's Robe, you start getting into the interesting nitty-gritty stuff. So inside the Lunia Castle, it drops a Coronet, which usually drops only from Mistress, which is used to make the Crown of Missy, which is pretty good for monks. Not better than the Marionette Doll +9 though, with the Karat card in it though. Lunia Chu drops Hat of Sun God and stuff like that, and then you see some things like Freya's Juice, Thor's Gauntlets, different things like that. If this table stays the same, then what's gonna happen is those items are going to be used for God item components, but I remember back in Renewal, all the God items are just random. So it's not like you can just go to a castle, camp out all the items, wait till you get enough, and then move on to the next castle. They're all random. So you're going to have to try to fight, also like trying to trade shit with other guilds to get the pieces that you need so you can make the God items if it gets to that point, but it's going to take a while. The one things that is going to get pretty crazy is you're going to have things like Heavenly Maiden Robe that drop from castle. This one is a garment, 3 defense. It only weighs 50, and a lot of people are getting these +9, and as you see, they only really drop from, MVPs and stuff like that, and certain other monsters, but this is going to drop from the castle, and that's going to be another coveted item. Broca. Broca is a good weapon. Some people say, oh, it's not that good. I still think it's a very good one. It has physical attacks and more defense of normal monsters and players, 25% more damage to neutral targets. Well, players are neutral targets, and you're going to ignore their defense. And let me tell you, when you get a powerful ass knight with the Broca, they're gonna be murdering people with Bowling Bash. And you know what makes it even worse? If we get the future changes to what happened, like when they make Brandish Spear a lot more powerful, you might see knights just Brandish Spearing people with a Broca, and that is terrifying because it's gonna buff that skill tremendously. And then also, since these guys drop from the treasure chests, if the treasure chests are considered monsters, that means that these items are going to roll with effects and enchants on them. So if I was a guild and I wanted to make sure we're dominant, I think knights are going to be the major DPS. Whoever has the most knights and monks, mostly knights, are going to win. You send in about 20 knights and you got them all stacked with Brocas and the new Brandish Spear, and they just did all the Ragnarok 0 changes and Brandish Spear is doing more damage. Now you got a lot of your people getting messed up. And then when you try to noom with the Brandish Spear, if it's going to be considered a long-range physical, then people are just going to Bowling Bash you to death. But granted, they're not going to have both. So you might have some guilds have a mixture of people who have Bowling Bash and people who have a mixture of who use Brandish Spear. But that's, food for thought. Like, this is some of the items that the castles have. If this item list stays same to how it traditionally has been, it's going to be that serious. Like, you got a pretty solid item right here, Dragon Slayer. That will be a good item to get from a castle, and that would be great because that will work alongside if you're hunting Abyss and killing certain mobs there. You got the Gaiasaur, that's nothing. Sacred Mission. Sacred Mission's okay, only if you can get a slock in it, though. That's a pretty okay one. Wizardry Staff. Wizardry Staff, from what I remember, is pretty decent. With Spiritual Ring, but we don't have Spiritual Ring, so we won't worry about that right now. Executioner, if I remember. I don't know if that's anything too special. Yeah, Executioner. This would be good for the new Bowling Bash. When Bowling Bash makes it so it hits 4 times. Physical attacks and all the defense of human races. Increase physical damage by demi human races by 20%. Increase damage to human damage by 10%. So you can have a knight with stacked up stats, and he can just he'll Magnum Break first, and then he'll start Bowling Bashing with Executioner to do damage on your ME line. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to be hitting 4 times. That means people are going to die. So there might be a guild that takes over Baldur Gate, might take over that guild or that certain area as an example, and get certain items to make their core knight group or whatever is making them win WoW, which I think it's going to just be a shit ton of knights like how it was on Restart. Whoever has the most geared knights and who has the better gear, they're going to dominate WoW and they're going to run away with it. So hopefully that gives you kind of idea of how serious like the castle drop loot affects the whole server. Now, if these items don't roll with the enchants that like they're supposed to, then that means they're going to be weak versions, which means they're going to want you to hunt most of the monsters to get your items. But if these items drop with not only the secondary rolls, with the main rolls, can you imagine somebody gets something like 60 attack on a Broca with damage to demi-human, and it still does damage to neutral. Like that blows my mind. If that actually comes in the game like that, and then they buff it, you're gonna have knights just murdering people on the, not even like Lord Knights, just regular ass knights murdering people. So maybe you don't like WoW. Maybe you just like doing PVM. I'm just telling you, man. And one way or another, the guilds that control WoW will run everything because they'll have the money, they'll have the resources, and you'll see them at your MVPs too because they have lots of money to spare, and they'll get all the high-end items, and they're going to sell to the players, accumulate a lot of money, get the wealth, get the power, and they'll just consume everything. Because the entire game evolves around, at least in my opinion, WoW. Now in Renewal, it's a lot different with the PvE elements and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, at least for the current state of the server and what we're doing with the game right now, WoW's going to have a tremendous impact on what's basically going on. Anyways, I'm looking at them at the 25-minute mark, so I'm going to go ahead and just kind of close this out because I don't want to keep you guys here too long. We got a Bis Slate coming out. Make sure you guys get your dragon weapons and everything set up. Make sure you get your high hit weapons because you're going to need a lot of hit to hit those dragons, unless you're doing traps. I think Crusaders are going to be fantastic for killing the Hydra Lancer. They only have 50k. We can Holy Cross them to death super fast, kill them super quick. Or you can use a Knight and just bowling bash all the dragons and just say fuck it until that thing dies. I look forward to the headgears that are going to be dropped on Hydra Lancers. They're going to make some nice combinations and stuff like that. They have some pretty good stats. I'm looking forward to getting a couple headgears of each of them, getting them +7. I look forward to the Morpheus Shawl and the Morgaine set. And a lot of different cool things like that for the characters I already have. And then outside of all that, we're still waiting on the Fever Fields. They're not in the game yet, so hopefully they'll have an update about this week. When Fever Fields open up and we have regular fields that we're on and they spawn certain monsters and we get a higher chance of getting better drops, I look forward to that. That's going to definitely be pretty cool, so be on the lookout for that, guys. And also, I'm not really sure how the Fever Fields are going to work. I don't know if there's going to be like something where you enter in a dungeon or it's permanent and all the time. The coolest thing I'm looking forward to is armor pieces, like, your boots, like your chest, and your mufflers and stuff like that. Those rolling enchants on them. And whatever produces those, that will be very important because we don't have any armor in the game right now that it has enchants on it. So that's just food for thought. I appreciate you guys for listening to me ramble another week. If you guys always want to ask me a question or see my guides and stuff like that, I'll start including my guides in my description when I upload this video so you guys can see what guides I have out. I have one for the Agi Crusader, I have one for the Devotion Crusader. I'm going to put together a Knight one, 2 different Knight builds, and a couple builds for Crusader. As the weeks go on, I'll keep updating these videos and putting it out for a lot of the English speakers out there. But if you're not only an English speaker and you're here just to watch the video, I appreciate it. You can follow me on YouTube, Debo SC2. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe button, and the bell notification so you know the next time I put out videos. I stream on twitch.tv/SBSDebo. Give me a follow there, a sub there. I'd appreciate it. But outside of all that, man, I'll see you guys next week. I won't be here for the first WoW because I'll be on vacation. But from the second WoW onwards, I'll be recording, and I'll also start uploading WoW videos as well and giving you my feedback on being a Devotion Crusader, which I think is the most important role out of all the classes in Ragnarok or in the PvP WoW settings. But anyways, man, I took enough of you guys' time. Hope you guys have a good day. Hope you have a good week. Go out there and grind that money. Don't be lazy. Get as much money as you can right now before things start inflating back. I promise you they will. Get as much money as you can. Raw Zenny is the way. That's all I gotta say. My name is Debo, and I'll see you guys next week.